Hey, what's up, sports bettors? Matt Moda here with OddsJam, and I have an incredibly sharp five-leg prize picks entry for the NFL Sunday this week. I have all five of my selections up here on the screen, all five found using OddsJam. OddsJam has a number of different tools that you can use to find profitable, sharp entries to add into your prize pick selections, stuff like that. Starting off, of course, is the positive EV page. So the way that the prize picks works, so this one I'm doing a 5-pick flex. So it's really cool that OddsJam, the OddsJam co-founder Alex, has identified that the implied odds for a prize picks 5 entry selection has the implied odds, like I said, a 5 flex of minus 119. So this means that if you are able to scan through the odds, which OddsJam does for you, and find player props that have implied odds more or that are more favorable than minus 119, minus 119, then that makes the selection a valuable one to add to your prize pick selection. So what I did was I hopped on OddsJam, the positive EV page, and I just filtered the sports books specifically for PrizePicks and Underdog. I ended up finding 3 on PrizePicks, so that's what I went with. Obviously filtered the league to the NFL because that's what I'm talking about. And we have 3 awesome plays here that I found using OddsJam. OddsJam does all the dirty work for you. All you need to do is just log into your account, add all of these filters to if you specifically want to do a prize picks selection, which is what I wanted to do. And we see 3 up here right off the bat. We're looking at 3 players and the receiving totals, 2 receptions, 1 receiving yard. The first one, Pat Freiermuth over 3.5 receptions. So the implied odds of the no vig line on this one has this prop at minus 126. So what you need to know about these no vig odds is that OddsJam, based on thousands and thousands of data being back tested, identified the sharpest sports books in terms of what they price certain odds at. And then what OddsJam does using all this data is take a weighted average from all of these sharp sports books and find out what the no vig line of all these sports books are for a specific play. So specifically for prize picks, if this no vig line is more favorable than minus 119, so essentially minus 120 and above, that would make this a valuable entry to add into your selection. The cool thing about OddsJam is the formula is ever updating. So if one book that we thought wasn't sharp, we notice as time goes on gets sharper, the formula will update and they will take that into account with their no vig odds moving forward. So it's an ever evolving formula. It's not stagnant. So whatever was sharp a month ago isn't necessarily the case today, which is why it's so important that they have all of this data being back tested. So it's really cool. Pat Freiermuth over 3.5 receptions is the first one. As I mentioned, the no vig line has this at minus 126. And then if you click into a play, it'll show you what every sportsbook has pricing for, what every sportsbook prices the odds of this play at. And what we can see, it's pretty much universally regarded as in the minus 140s. Pinnacle, minus 150. BetOnline, another sharp one, minus 145. Then we have BetRivers, Tipico, DraftKings, all at minus 145 roughly. And then Caesars, even above that at minus 179. So the under is also a play on Caesars just because of the odds at plus 129. But for this one, since we're doing the prize picks, the over was the play here. Same logic, DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions, not quite as high of a play at minus 120 of the no vig line, but similar logic here. Based on all of the sharp sports books, all of these different sports books, a weighted average puts the line of this should be priced at minus 120. Thanks to the math behind the prize picks selection, we know that it has the implied odds of minus 119. And same logic here. We see this a little bit lower, which makes sense why the vig number, the no vig line is lower. But still, minus 119 on prize picks. Pinnacle, BetOnline, minus 136, minus 137. DraftKings, Caesars, minus 145, minus 133. Pricing this play significantly above what the prize picks implied odds is at minus 119. Last one, Michael Pittman receiving yards over 61.5. Same logic here, so I won't belabor the point. No vig line has the odds, implied odds of minus 119 or greater than minus 119, I should say. Again, and we see this one, we kind of know when you're looking at it, it makes sense why the EV percent isn't as high, going from 2 to a half to 0.1. 0.1, because the odds of all the sports books aren't quite as favorable. Like if you compare the two, universally minus 140 across the board. For this last one, Michael Pittman, it's minus 130, minus 130, minus 145. Not quite as high in terms of what the odds are priced at, but still a good selection to add to your PrizePicks play. So those are the first three that I found using the positive expected value page. But that's not the only way you can identify props to add to a PrizePicks selection. Another thing you could do is if you go to sports, you click NFL, it pulls up odds for every single game. And not just player props, obviously everything, money line, spread, total, alternate markets like team total, spread, or first half spread, stuff like that. And if you click into a game and you type in player, all of the player props show up. So you can look at everything. And this page is completely free to use. So if you just go to oddsjam.com and do what I just showed you, you can access this for completely free. So another way in which we can identify profitable PrizePicks selections to add to a play is to not only look at the odds themselves, but look at where totals are being priced at. So the one that I really liked was Derek Carr over 280 passing yards on PrizePicks. So you see added right here, Derek Carr over 280.5. So PrizePicks prices his selection at 280. Every other book prices his passing yardage total above this number, 282, 285. Now, granted, with numbers as high as 280, the 1 yard difference is less valuable than when it's like, 60 to 59, something like that. But either way, we can still tell that every other book, no matter what, Underdog or the sharp books like BetOnline and OddsJam, they think his total should be priced 5 yards higher. And they're also, majority of them think that the more likely scenario is that he goes over this number. DraftKings, Tipico, and then the two sharp ones, BetOnline and Pinnacle, they all think that his total should be priced at 285.5, and they're also juicing that over more. So they basically say, we think that his over-under should be set at 285.5, and we think that the more likely scenario is that he goes over this number, so we are going to make that more expensive for you to buy, as my dog jumps up and says hi. Like DraftKings prices the over minus 125.5, minus 125, the under at minus 105. Favoring the over, saying that that is more likely. Same thing with Tipico. Same thing with the two sharp sportsbooks, BetOnline and Pinnacle. So even though we don't have odds for the 280 prop specifically, we can still identify that it would be a positive EV play if they did, because of where all these sportsbooks have his yardage total priced at, and the fact that they think that it's more likely to go over at a higher number. So that's why I added this Derek Carr one. The last one is Joe Mixon. Same exact logic here to go over 70.5. So I pulled up his odds. Same thing. All the other books price his total, except for Underdog, above the 70.5 that we got it at. With some books still favoring the over, like Caesars. DraftKings has it at about 50-50. BetOnline and Pinnacle still favor the under a little bit, but it's a lower number. So 70 to 72 is obviously more, the 1 yard is more valuable than going from 280 to 285. So I still really like this one a lot, which rounds out my 5 PrizePicks selection for NFL Sunday. We got Joe Mixon over 70.5 rushing yards, Derek Carr over 280.5 passing yards, Michael Pittman over 61.5 receiving yards, DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions, and Pat Freiermuth over 3.5 receptions. Backing a lot of overs this NFL Sunday. At least that'll make it for a more enjoyable watching experience. And that's it. So for those of you who are tailing this at home, let me know. Would love to hear it. Comment on the video with your feedback. Other than that, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the OddsJam YouTube channel to get all of our content moving forward. And that's it. So appreciate you guys watching, and have a good one.